Yo, what's going on YouTube? It is your boy Ears. Hope you guys are having a great rest of your day, start to your day, whatever time it may be. And we're going over the best class setups for each and every SMG in Modern Warfare. Now, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below what weapon class do you guys want me to make a complete best class setup video for next. Now remember, if you guys want to see more best class setups, best settings, tips and tricks, or any more gameplay breakdowns where I analyze and break down my gameplay, or potentially analyze and break down your gameplay to help you guys improve, make sure you guys absolutely smash the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, and also turn on those post notifications. Now with all being said, let's get right into and breaking down the best class setups for each and every submachine gun in Modern Warfare. Now first, we're going to be looking at the Uzi. The Uzi is an SMG where you're going to have to fully level it up to understand how effective this weapon can be. Now in a recent update, they actually added 2 new attachments that completely transform how this weapon does operate. Let's go ahead and look at it right now. Now for the Uzi, we're going to be using the FSS Carbine Pro barrel. This is a brand new attachment for this weapon, and in my opinion, this is the absolute best barrel to run on the Uzi. Now this barrel allows us to have increased damage range, increased bullet velocity, as well as increased recoil control. This barrel allows the Uzi to be effective at medium and as well as long ranges. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Uzi can be used at medium to long range combat, and honestly, it's a complete monster. Now for the second attachment, we're going to be looking at the Merc foregrip. Now in my opinion, the Merc foregrip is the absolute best underbarrel to run on any and every SMG in Modern Warfare because it's going to drastically increase the hip fire accuracy, allowing us to get kills that honestly shouldn't even be possible sometimes. Now on top of that, it's going to allow us to have increased recoil control, making the Uzi a lot easier to use at those medium to long range engagements, which is obviously an added bonus. Now for the third attachment, look and listen carefully. We're going to be running the .41 AE 32 round mag. This attachment allows us to have increased damage as well as increased range. Equipped with the FSS Carbine Pro barrel, the Uzi is capable of getting a 2-shot kill at close range with this attachment. Absolutely incredible, and that's exactly why the .41 AE 32 round magazine is the best attachment to run as far as ammunition goes on this weapon, and I might add that's also a new attachment for this weapon. Now for the fourth attachment, we're looking at the no stock. Now obviously the no stock is going to be super effective on SMGs because it's going to increase that movement speed as well as increase that aim down sight speed, making the SMG that much more effective at close range engagements, and that's exactly what we're going to be going for when running the Uzi. Since we can get 2-shot kills, there's absolutely no reason to not run the no stock attachment because you can literally walk around, aim down sight at close range, boop boop, 2 shots, they're done, they're dead. Easy peasy. Now for the final attachment, we're going to be using the fully loaded perk, which is going to allow us to have maximum starting ammo when we do spawn in. This is important to run this attachment on this weapon because it does have specialty ammo, the .41 AE. There's no other weapon in the game that actually carries this ammunition, so obviously we're going to be able to run this from kill 1 to kill 30 until we get that tactical nuke. And obviously since the Uzi is so effective, why would we want to go ahead and pick up another gun off the ground that potentially is worse than it? Now that's going to be the Uzi class setup. I highly recommend you guys going ahead and checking this weapon out. It is incredibly underrated, and especially if you guys level it up, I think you guys will be well rewarded. Now for the second class setup, we're going to be looking at the MP5. The MP5 is arguably the best SMG in Modern Warfare, and this class setup is going to be built upon close range, medium range, as well as long ranges. Now for the MP5, we're going to be running the monolithic integral suppressor for our barrel attachment. This is the absolute best barrel attachment to run on the MP5 because it actually increases the range more than the monolithic suppressor does, and that's exactly why we're going to be running it. And on top of that, it's going to make it feel like this weapon is going to be killing a lot faster because of its added bullet velocity. This is huge on the MP5. If you guys want to have a MP5 class setup that can take enemies out at medium and long ranges, definitely go ahead and run the monolithic integral suppressor. And on top of that, we're going to have that sound suppression so we can run around in the spawn, streak up, and potentially get that highest kill streak we're going for, or maybe, just maybe, getting that tactical nuke. Now for the second attachment, we're going to be running the underbarrel, which is going to be the Merc foregrip. Again, the Merc foregrip is fantastic on the MP5 because it drastically increases that hip-fire accuracy, allowing us to get some clutch kills that honestly sometimes shouldn't even be possible, and that added recoil control is going to be key, especially getting into engagements at medium to long ranges. Now for the third attachment, I'm running the 45 round magazine. I like to run the 45 round magazine over the 10mm rounds on this weapon because this is going to be a gun where we're going to be running and gunning, and obviously having 15 additional bullets is going to be super helpful just in case we need to take out 1 or 2 extra enemies that we did not expect to be turning the corner. Definitely something to keep in mind when running the MP5. Now for the fourth attachment, I'm running the FTAC collapsible stock again because having the additional movement speed and aim down sight speed with an SMG is key, and obviously since the MP5 has already low recoil, making this weapon that much more effective at close range is going to turn it into an absolute monster. Now for the final attachment, again, I'm running fully loaded. Now you actually can run the Vernetti pistol, which does share the 9mm round ammo with this weapon to kind of compensate for fully loaded, but if you guys want to run a different secondary like the snake shot or whatever you guys might be wanting to run, having full loaded is super helpful because obviously when running an SMG, having dead silence available and to use it whenever you can is super helpful, so you guys can run around the spawn without actually having your footsteps be heard. Super helpful when running a submachine gun. Now for the third class setup, we're going to be looking at the MP7, which is a mid-range monster when you guys are running the right attachments. Let's take a look at it. Now for the MP7, we're going to be running the monolithic suppressor and the FSS recon barrel. This is the absolute best barrel attachment to run on the MP7 because it's going to increase that damage range, increase that bullet velocity, as well as increase that recoil control. This barrel removes any and all recoil with the MP7, making it an absolute laser, and it makes it a mid-range and potentially a long-range killing machine. I highly recommend going ahead and running the FSS recon barrel on the MP7. And on top of that, that added bullet velocity is going to make this weapon pack a significant punch at those mid-range engagements. Now for the third attachment, I'm going to be running the Merc foregrip. Again, the Merc foregrip is a fantastic choice on the MP7 because it does increase that hip-fire accuracy, and having that added recoil control just makes it that much easier to use at mid-range as well as long range, again making this weapon have zero, and I mean zero, recoil. Now for the fourth attachment, I'm running the 60 round magazine. Now the MP7 has an incredibly high fire rate, so having 60 rounds is super helpful on this weapon. You can take out 3 to 4 enemies by default with its default magazine, but just in case a couple more enemies turn the corner, having 60 rounds makes this weapon a lot more forgiving, and it's going to be a lot easier to use when you guys are running and gunning and potentially getting into multiple engagements at a single time. Now for the fifth and final attachment, we're going to be running the no stock attachment, which obviously is going to increase the lethality of a submachine gun at those close range engagements, pretty much making this weapon an overall well-rounded submachine gun. I think a lot of us love the MP7, and you guys should definitely go ahead and check out this class with it if you guys are not running it already. Now for the fourth class, we're going to be checking out the Bison. This is a rusher's dream. Let's go ahead and break down exactly what makes the Bison so good if you guys are run and gun style players. Now for the Bison, I like to run it with the monolithic suppressor and the 8.7-inch steel barrel. This, in my opinion, is the absolute best barrel attachment to run on the Bison because it's going to allow us to have increased damage range, increased bullet velocity, as well as increased recoil control. With this attachment, you can actually challenge enemies at medium to long range with the Bison because it does have relatively low recoil, and this barrel is going to reduce that just a little bit, making this weapon a lot easier to use at medium to long range combat, which obviously is an added benefit to any SMG in Modern Warfare. Now for the third attachment, I'm actually running the rubberized grip tape. Now this attachment is super helpful on the Bison because it's going to additionally support that recoil control, making this gun a lot easier to use at medium to long ranges. Now you might be asking, why are we going to be buffing up the medium to long range combat if this weapon is already so good at close range? Now, because we want to go ahead and have all ranges, all scenarios covered. The Bison is already the best SMG for running and gunning, especially taking out multiple enemies at a single time. So we're going to go ahead and buff up the weaknesses of this weapon, which is going to be its range and making this, you know, an overall rusher's dream. And that's exactly why we're adding some range attachments to this weapon. Now for the 4th attachment, I'm running the no stock, which is going to increase that weapon's lethality when you guys are running and gunning, additional movement speed, as well as additional aim down sight speed to counteract that weight increase that the max barrel does give us. Absolutely incredible when running the Bison, and why it is so good if you guys are running and gunning. Even with the no stock attachment coupled with the rubberized grip tape and the 8.7 inch steel barrel, you can run and gun, and most importantly have no recoil and challenge enemies at medium to long ranges. Now finally, I have on the fully loaded perk again because I want to have maximum starting ammo when I do spawn in. Now you guys can run sleight of hand on the Bison if you guys want to, but at my philosophy, my theory behind running fully loaded is I want to run the weapon that I spawn in with from kill 1 all the way to kill 30 to get that tactical nuke. And on top of that, I do not want to stress out if I need to throw it on an ammo box or pick up a weapon off the ground if I'm running low on ammo, which does not happen, especially if you're running a Bison with the full loaded perk. And that's exactly why I'm running this on this weapon. Now for the class at number 5, we're checking out the P90. Now the P90 is one of these weapons, and honestly probably the most underrated SMG in the entire game, even more underrated than the Uzi. Now we're looking at what makes the P90 so good. Now the P90 ought to run up the mileage suppressor as well as the forged tack retribution barrel. If you guys are accurate, this barrel allows us to have increased damage range, increased bullet velocity, as well as increased recoil control. You'll be able to kill enemies incredibly fast running the P90. It transforms this weapon into a melt machine, and that's exactly why I absolutely love to run this barrel on this weapon. This is the best barrel attachment because it's going to allow it to actually take enemies out at medium to long ranges, which is where this weapon really does fall short. Obviously with this barrel, it's going to bump that up, making it actually viable. Now for the 3rd attachment, I'm running the stippled grip tape. Now because we're running a max barrel on the P90, we're going to have to run every single attachment we can to increase its lethality at close range. Stippled grip tape allows us to have increased aim down sight speed as well as sprint to fire speed, pretty much making this SMG a little bit more SMG like. Now for the 4th attachment, I'm running the fly strap stock. Again, going to increase that sprint to fire speed as well as that aim walking movement speed, something that is necessary on this P90 since we are running a max barrel, aka the forged tack retribution. Now finally, running the fully loaded perk. Now the P90 has severe ammo problems. There actually isn't any more ammunition on the game that actually supports this weapon type, so having fully loaded is going to be super helpful and making it so that we do not have to be scrambling looking for weapons off the ground to pick up. If we are streaking, we don't have to throw down the ammo box nearly as much, and we can use dead sounds when we need to use it, so we can go ahead and run and gun and get into close range engagements, which is where this weapon does shine. You can take enemies out at medium to long range with this weapon, with this class set that I did give you, but the P90 is going to be suited for those close range gunfights and potential mid-range gunfights if somebody is getting out of your reach. But I strongly recommend you guys strictly keep this weapon close range run and gun. It is a melt machine if you guys are running around at close range environments, but you're going to be struggling once you guys get further through the mid-range to long-range engagements. But that's exactly why we have some attachments on this weapon that's going to bump up that range and make it a little bit more lethal. Now for the 6th class setup, we're going to be checking out the AUG, which is pretty much an assault rifle with SMG mobility as well as handling. Let's go ahead and look at what actually makes this weapon so effective. Now on the AUG, we're going to want to run the mileage suppressor as well as the 622mm long barrel. This, in my opinion, is the absolute best barrel attachment to run on the AUG because it allows this weapon to actually challenge and outgun a lot of the assault rifles in the game when you guys are getting into medium and long range engagements. Now this barrel attachment allows us to have increased damage range, increased bullet velocity, as well as increased recoil control. This makes the AUG be an absolute laser, no recoil over long ranges, and that's exactly what we're going to be going for with this SMG. Now for the 3rd attachment, I'm running the 32 round magazine. Now the 32 round magazine, I've had no issues running this attachment on this weapon. Some of you guys might like to run the 5.56 NATO rounds, but I highly recommend going ahead and checking out the 32 round mag because honestly, With that max barrel, the 622mm long barrel, I have no issues with this attachment, and you get an additional 2 shots to your ammo, which honestly does come in handy when you guys are running and gunning and potentially running into more than one enemy at a single time. Now for the fourth attachment, I'm running the stippled grip tape, because remember, we want to counteract that weight increase that long barrel does give this weapon. We're going to be allowing us to have increased aim down sight speed as well as increased sprint to fire speed with the stippled grip tape, which honestly does bump up the SMG's lethality at close to medium range and makes this gun a little bit more forgiving and easier to use. Now for the final attachment, running fully loaded again, because obviously when I'm running a weapon like the AUG that is so good and so effective at medium and long range, and on top of that, since it is pretty much an assault rifle with SMG mobility and handling, why would I not want to run this weapon and specifically this class setup throughout the entire game? I'm going to run fully loaded so I can get, you know, kill 1 to kill 30, get that nuke running my AUG class. That's exactly why I like to run fully loaded on this weapon. Now for the 7th and final class setup, we're going to be looking at the UMP 45, aka the Striker 45. Now again, the Striker is one of those SMGs where you probably should give it a try. I know a lot of people don't like it, but with the right attachments, the right class setup, I think you guys will actually start to enjoy this weapon a little bit more. Now for the Striker, I'm running the monolith suppressor as well as the 400mm stainless steel barrel. Now this barrel is fantastic on this weapon because it allows us to have increased damage range as well as increased bullet velocity and also increased recoil control. Most importantly, the recoil control on this weapon is going to be what we're going for. This gun has a very weird upward circular recoil pattern that can really throw us off at medium to long ranges, and this 400mm stainless steel barrel is going to iron that out, making this weapon that much easier to use. Now for the third attachment, I like to run the 45 round magazine just in case I run into more than one enemy at a single time. This still is a submachine gun. I still like to run and gun with it, so having 45 rounds instead of the default 32 really just go ahead and make this weapon a little bit easier to use and more forgiving when we guys are rushing. Now for the fourth attachment, I'm running the F-Tac G5 Exo Grip, which actually allows us to have increased aim down sight speed as well as increased sprint to fire speed. This is super helpful to kind of counteract that weight increase that 400mm stainless steel barrel does add. And since there is no stock attachment, unfortunately, on the UMP, this is going to be the best option available. So that's exactly why we're running the F-Tac G5 Exo rear grip. And then finally, I have on full loaded again because I do not want to be picking up weapons off the ground that potentially have horrible class setups. And whenever I do spawn into a game, like always, I like to run that class setup from kill 1 to kill 30 until I get that tactical nuke. These are going to be the 7 class setups, pretty much the best class setup for each and every submachine gun in Modern Warfare. If there are 3 class setups I want you guys to check out, if you guys are interested in increasing your KD, going for your first nuke, or overall just want to have a class setup you guys can rely on and always do well using, I recommend you guys go ahead and checking out my Uzi class setup. I also recommend you guys going ahead and checking out my MP5 class setup. And finally, I recommend you guys going ahead and checking out my Bison class setup if you guys are running gun players. Hope you guys did enjoy the video, and make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section right now what weapon class do you guys want me to make a best class setup video for next. And as always, everybody, if you guys want to see more best class setups, best settings, tips and tricks, or any more gameplay breakdowns where I analyze my gameplay and potentially break down and analyze your gameplay to help you guys improve, make sure you guys absolutely smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and also turn on those post notifications. With all that being said, I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Deuces.